She confided in the wrong person at 3 a.m., the shocking truth of winning a millionaire's heart. It was a chill night in the city, the kind where secrets can creep through the silent shadows. Underneath the glow of the streetlights, Lucy, a 20-something waitress, found herself tangled in a web of emotion and intrigue. 3 a.m. a time when the world feels at its quietest, yet it was buzzing in her chest. She never thought a simple moment pouring her heart out to the wrong person would lead to a spiraling descent into chaos. As she slipped into the diner booth, her heart raced. She had just served a mysterious man, eyes cloaked in darkness, each glance piercing straight through her. There was something not right about him. Stories flowed around towns like the coffee that filled their mugs. Stories of riches and hearts broken. And now, she feared hers would be next, all because of one fateful conversation. The man listened intently, his smile stretched too wide, like a mask hiding his true self. It was both charming and unnerving. "I have everything," he said, his deep voice echoing in the small space. "But I'm searching for someone to share it with." He leaned closer, the scent of power and danger wafting off him. A lump formed in her throat. What had she gotten herself into? Despite the doubts gnawing at her, she confessed, she didn't want a fortune. She wanted companionship, genuine connection. At that moment, he nodded, but his eyes flashed with a hunger that chilled her to the bone. What did he hear in her words? Was she just another conquest in his game? Lucy didn't know yet that this would change her life forever. Whispers of the man's reputation mixed with the smell of greasy fries. Murmurs from the other diners hinted at a past drenched in scandal. She turned to see their faces, shock painted across them as her voice trailed off. They could see it too, that something wasn't right. Suddenly, the bell above the door jingled, slicing through the tension. A figure burst in, a young woman, eyes wide, panic coursing through her veins. "Lucy! You need to leave. He's not who you think." The stranger's breath came in gasps, full of urgency. The diner fell silent, all eyes darting between the two women. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Every heartbeat echoed like thunder in her ears. Lucy's vision blurred, panic swelling. What had she unwittingly let slip? The air thickened, every second felt like an eternity. The woman continued, "They say he'll ruin you. I've seen it happen." What did that mean? Who was he really? The millionaire with a dark secret, or just a lost soul looking for love? Lucy's mind raced. The wrong conversation now felt like a ticking time bomb ready to explode. She didn't just want to run, she had to. Her hand trembled as she glanced back at the man, who leaned back, still grinning like a hungry wolf. The diner held its breath. Would she make a choice that could change everything? Something inside her snapped. Maybe this was her moment to fight back. She met the stranger's gaze and nodded. Together, they could unveil the truth. But the truth, like shadows, can slip away when you least expect it. As Lucy made her decision, the diner door swung open again. A chill swept through, and a rambling voice echoed from the dark. "Lucy! It's all a lie. Don't believe him." The tension thickened like fog, and Lucy stood at the precipice of the unknown. What lay before her would shake her to the core, and everyone in that diner knew it. Lucy's heart raced like a wild animal trapped in a cage. She felt the weight of every gaze in the diner. The mysterious man's devilish smile stretched even wider, as if he savored the chaos unfolding around him. A hush fell over the diners, the sound of clinking silverware and sizzling grills replaced by heavy breaths. "Who are you?" Lucy demanded, her voice steadier than she felt. The young woman who had rushed inside remained silent, eyes darting between Lucy and the man, panic slowly fading into resolve. Listen to her, the stranger urged, stepping closer to Lucy. His charm hides darkness. He doesn't seek love, he seeks to destroy. The conviction in her voice ignited something deep within Lucy, the man's grin faltered, replaced by a cold intensity. You shouldn't listen to what you don't understand, he warned, eyes narrowing. It's easy to believe the worst when you're lost. Every word dripped with malice, sending shivers down her spine. Lucy's gut twisted. What was the truth? Was she simply a pawn in this twisted game? Doubt danced menacingly at the edges of her mind. Tell me your name. Lucy pushed back. Names don't matter, he replied, his voice a whisper coated in steel. Just know I can offer you everything you've ever desired. There it was again, his promise that felt like an iron hand gripping her heart. One moment of vulnerability could spell disaster. What's your offer? She challenged, as the diner's tension mounted. The stakes had never felt so high. The woman beside Lucy shook her head, dark hair whipping like a storm. This isn't a game, Lucy. He'll spin a web of lies until you're trapped. I've seen it. They found me after I tried to escape, she swallowed hard. They almost took my life. The room held its breath. Lucy could feel the raw fear in her bones, the energy filling the air thick as smoke. What do you mean, they? Lucy pressed, her pulse quickening. They're always watching, the woman replied, shaking visibly. He's a part of something bigger. Hustlers, con artists, it's all a scheme. The man scoffed, the laughter hollow. Fear is a weak stone to build a life upon, he dismissed, yet his eyes flared with an anger that betrayed his calm facade. Lucy inhaled sharply, piecing together the words. The air reeked of danger, a reality she had merely skirted around. She had been lost, searching for connection, yet this risk trembled just beneath the surface. Leave now, Lucy, the woman urged, but a strange curiosity rooted her in place. I want to know what's true, Lucy said, conviction strengthening her voice. If you're lying, I'll find a way to expose you. If you're not, then I need to hear it. Very brave, but foolish, the man mused, his posture relaxed, yet the storm inside his gaze spoke volumes. But you will regret this. With every word, the diner felt more like a pressure cooker, anticipation pulsing through the air. The patrons remained frozen, and Lucy's heart thundered against her ribs. What game was this? Then, a third figure entered the diner, a large man with an air of authority. He scanned the room before locking eyes with Lucy. The look was fierce, full of meaning. Lucy, we need to talk now. He growled, confusion turned to alarm. Who was this new player, and what did he know? Tension swelled, leaving no room for innocence. As the clock ticked, Lucy stood on the edge of a decision as weighty as 1,000 stones. Choices loomed, destiny danced dangerously close. What do you want from me? Lucy implored, heart racing. Truth, the man said simply, raising an eyebrow. And in that moment, the thin line separating trust and betrayal blurred. Where would this spiral lead her? Lucy's thoughts churned like a storm as she faced the large man, still frozen in the diner's oppressive silence. The mysterious figure loomed over her, muscles taut and eyes dark like thunderclouds. She felt the weight of his demand pressing down, the air charged with an anticipation that had everyone holding their breath. Lucy, he said again, urgency lining his tone. This is not the place for games. You need to listen to me. His voice sliced through the tension, getting clearer as he stepped closer. What do you know about him? She shot back, taking a step back, refusing to be cornered. Her pulse quickened, she could practically feel the man's eyes burning a hole in her. The stranger flashed a glance towards the man with the devilish smile, his expression shifting to one of concern. He doesn't care about you, Lucy. You're just another piece on his chessboard. A murmur rippled through the diner, the patrons exchanging uneasy looks. Lucy's heart raced, fighting to keep her composure. "If you really want to help me, tell me what you know." The man hesitated, glancing nervously at the grinning stranger before lowering his voice. "I'm part of a group that tracks him. He's been in this town before, playing his games. Women have gone missing after getting involved with him. It's not just lies, it's something darker." Lucy felt the floor sway beneath her. "Missing? What do you mean?" Her breath caught in her throat as images of other women flickered in her mind. "He lures you in with charm. Then he steals your life. You think you're in love, but in reality, he's using you until you're nothing," the man said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've seen it happen too many times." The woman next to Lucy shifted closer, her eyes darting between the two men. "Believe me, Lucy, we have to go now. This isn't safe." The tension screamed in the air as the devilish stranger smirked, his eyes glinting with malice. "Oh, this is rich. But you, sweet Lucy, are far too interesting to lose." "What does that mean?" she demanded, frustration boiling in her veins. That he stepped forward, maintaining eye contact, his grin unnaturally charming. "It means, dear Lucy, that I've only just begun to show you the wonders. Escape sounds tempting, but it's so underestimated. You're better off with me." "Better off?" she repeated, the disgust swirling inside her. "You think I trust you? You're feeding off fear." "Fear is just a byproduct of ignorance, little dove," he retorted, his smile now somehow more reassuring and horrifying all at once. "But you can be something much more." "Stop it," Lucy snapped, determination coursing through her. "I need to make my choice, and I can't do that while you're filling my head with your lies." The tension knotted even tighter as the strangeness of Lucy's surroundings closed in. The crackling neon lights, the stares of anxious diners hushed into silence, the droning hum of the diner's appliances. "Lucy!" The man with authority took a step forward, nearly blocking the stranger from view. "Time is running out. You need to understand there's something between them, and it's bad." A crack echoed in her chest, a sudden awareness flooding her mind. "What do you mean between them?" Before the man could answer, the devilish stranger raised his hand, cutting him off. "Be careful with whom you ally, Lucy. Trust is a delicate thread," he whispered dangerously, as if it was only meant for her ears. And just like that, her world tipped. She had to decide, right here, right now, who to trust. Before she could respond, the diner's door burst open again, this time with more people spilling inside. Panic erupted as they stormed the diner, their intentions shrouded in uncertainty and chaos. "Lucy, we have to go. Now!" the woman shouted, pulling her arm, but Lucy was rooted to the spot. She was caught in a wild tempest, and truth remained locked behind impenetrable doors. With confusion swirling, every second felt like it could change everything. What was the truth? And who would come out alive? The air exploded with cries and shouts as the newcomers flooded the diner, eyes wide and faces strained with urgency. Lucy's heart raced like a freight train, and she could barely process the chaos unfolding around her. The deep baritone of the man with authority crackled through her haze of confusion. "Stay back!" he shouted, his stance protective as he moved closer to Lucy. But behind him, the devilish stranger stood still, an amused glint in his eye. "Looks like your friends believe in fairy tales," he said mockingly, tilting his head as if absorbing the absurdity. The diner's patrons backed away, pushing their chairs, their faces reflecting a cocktail of fear and disbelief. The air became a thick soup of tension. The woman who had warned Lucy earlier moved closer, her whispered urgency barely reaching her over the rising noise. "Lucy, we're out of time. Trust him or not, we can't stay here. We need to go." Lucy's chest tightened. Part of her wanted to bolt with this woman, someone who seemed sincere in a world now drowning in deception. Yet another part felt drawn to the stranger, his dark allure pulling at her like a moth to flames. Trust is just an illusion, isn't it? He purred. His fingers danced in the air as if orchestrating the unfolding drama. Everyone here has their own agenda. Will you run from the truth, or embrace it? Suddenly, the newcomers rushed the men, their movements frantic and desperate. Lucy's breath hitched. What were they after? A chance to save her, or to drag her down? Out of the way! One of them shouted, lunging towards the devilish stranger. He sidestepped effortlessly, a smirk playing on his lips as he swayed like a dancer. The man with authority seized Lucy's hand, pulling her away from the chaos. We need to move. Right now. No. Lucy protested, torn between running or staying, or maybe stepping into the danger ahead. What if he's right? What if I'm missing something? Before the man could respond, the crowd surged, and a punch was thrown. It landed squarely on the stranger's jaw, sending him back a step. But he only chuckled, wiping a trickle of blood with the back of his hand. Oh, I like this. He said, his voice dangerously excited. The chaos escalated, shouts drowning out rational thought. Chairs toppled as people scrambled, some attempting to escape the diner while others waded deeper into the fray. Lucy! The woman yelled again, fierce desperation in her voice. This isn't a game. We need to leave now. Lucy's mind raced, trying to peel back the layers of the situation in front of her. The truth was tangled, shrouded behind loyalty, fear, and everything in between. Something inside was urging her to fight back, to protect herself and the clarity she desperately sought, and suddenly, amidst the thick of bodies clashing in chaos, she saw a flicker of movement. The grinning stranger's face turned serious, his eyes locking onto a shadow at the diner's entrance. A little late for the show, don't you think? He said, a cold edge slicing through the air. Lucy's heart dropped. Who else was here? As the figure stepped into the light, her breath caught a familiar face she thought she'd never see again. Lucy, it called, the voice breaking through the din. I've been looking for you. Caught in a maelstrom of chaos, Lucy's world spun on a fragile axis. The moment felt electric past and present colliding in an explosive twist. Who was here to save her? Or to seal her fate? With every breath, she knew the stakes had just risen. The choice to trust was slipping through her fingers like sand. Where would that moment lead her next? Would she push through the chaos or get lost once again? Lucy's pulse thudded in her ears, drowning out the chaos swirling around her. The familiar face emerging from the shadows sent icy tendrils of disbelief creeping up her spine. There he stood, Alex, her ex-boyfriend, looking both determined and haunted, the weight of their history hanging heavily in the air between them. Alex? She called, her voice barely a whisper, lost in the frenetic commotion. The angry shouts and the clattering of tables seemed to fade into a surreal background. She thought she would never see him again, yet here he was, breaking through the storm. I came for you. He shouted, pushing through the throng of bodies, his eyes locked onto hers with a pleading intensity. You need to trust me. We have to get out of here. Trust. The word felt like a punch to her gut. It was what she had entrusted him with once, and yet their relationship had shattered like glass. But the urgency in his voice ignited a flicker of hope amid the chaos, one that only intensified as the devilish stranger watched with an unsettling grin, his eyes dancing with the thrill of it all. Oh, this is rich, he taunted, unfazed by the mayhem as he stepped slightly forward, his presence carving a path through the crowd. Isn't love just a delightful game? Look at you two reuniting as the world crumbles around you. Shut up. Alex barked, his focus unwavering as he reached for Lucy's arm, gripping it firmly. She could feel the warmth of his hand, a stark contrast to the cold dread pooling in her stomach. Lucy, listen to me. Alex pressed, desperation etched on his features. I know everything. I know why they're after you and what they will do if we don't leave now. Everything. She echoed, her voice tremulous. You just walked into this mess. How can I believe you? I can explain later, he insisted, his voice urgent. Right now, we don't have time. There's a plan, and it's not safe here. You trust me, don't you? Lucy's heart raced, caught in a tug-of-war between the devilishly charming stranger, who seemed to thrive on chaos, and Alex, whose return felt more like a curse than a blessing. Behind Alex, she could see the crowd of newcomers, their faces twisted with determination, pushing forward as if the diner were a battleground. What if this is all a trap? She murmured, her eyes darting to the stranger, who was now leaning casually against the counter, watching with amusement. Then we'll deal with it, Alex replied, his tone firm, drawing her gaze back. But staying here means you'll lose everything. The atmosphere thickened, charged with the weight of her indecision. Everything in her screamed to run, to save herself from whatever dark fate loomed ahead. But as her heart battled her instincts, the stranger took a step closer, his voice low and silky. You feel trapped, Lucy. Hasn't your heart already led you astray before? Will you let it happen again? Before she could respond, the diner's front door burst open again, sending a wave of cold air that momentarily quieted the din. A hooded figure appeared, shrouded in darkness, sending fresh shockwaves through the crowd. Murmurs of confusion rippled through the patrons, their attention drawn to the newcomer. Who is that? The stranger mused, his interest piqued, the playful glint returning to his eyes. Another player entering our game? Lucy held her breath, every instinct flaring as the figure advanced. Darkness hung in the air, a palpable tension laced with fear and the sharp taste of uncertainty. What new threat awaited her? Could she trust Alex, or was she walking into an even deeper web of deceit? With a single glance exchanged between them, she realized the choice wasn't just about trust anymore, it was survival. The sinking realization tightened her chest, the risks were higher than ever, and time was running out. What would she choose when the clock struck next? The hooded figure advanced, and Lucy's heart quickened. Shadows obscured its features, but the air crackled with a heavy presence, one that sent chills darting down her spine. The din of the diner slipped into silence as patrons swung around, eyes wide, breaths held. Lucy, Alex urged, pulling her closer to him. She felt the warmth of his body as he nudged her behind him, a protective barrier against what lay ahead. Stay back. The hooded figure growled, its voice deep and gravelly, echoing off the walls. I'm not here for you. Confusion washed over her like a cold wave. Not here for her. Who was this person, and what did they want? The tension in the room thickened, an invisible noose tightening around her throat. The stranger, all charm and mockery, snickered, his amusement palpable. Oh, this is delightful. Two opponents vying for Lucy's favor. What a twist. He leaned in, his grin sinister. But don't you see? Everyone's playing the wrong game. What do you want? Alex demanded, his protective stance unyielding. Destruction. Chaos. And a front row seat to watch it unfold, the hooded figure replied, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Lucy's mind raced. She could feel the weight of their gazes, the pressure mounting as the hovering question became more urgent. What was the game they were really playing? The hooded figure paused, raising a hand. A small glimmer flickered in the air, a flash of silver reflecting the diner's fluorescent lights. Suddenly, the weight of realization crashed over Lucy. You're not here to help, she whispered, dread pooling in her stomach. You're one of them. Smart girl, the figure chuckled softly, the hood shifting to reveal a glimpse of a face, marred by shadows. No one is safe anymore. I'm here to deliver a message. Before she could react, he swooped forward, the shadows clinging to him like a shroud. There was a rolling sense of imminent danger, the kind that made Lucy's blood run cold. Lucy! Alex shouted, stepping forward, but she held him back, sensing the overwhelming power radiating from the cloaked figure. Your name has been whispered on the winds of fate, the hooded figure continued, voice low and dangerous. You've stirred a storm, and they're coming for you. What storm? Lucy breathed, barely able to keep her voice steady. Who's coming? But her question lingered in the air, unanswered. The atmosphere was suffocating, and Lucy could barely grasp the enormity of the revelation. The tension dropped to a near physical weight, wrapping around her lungs. The ones you thought you escaped. They know you're here, and they want you back, he said, gesturing with a long-fingered hand, the glow of the diner's lights illuminating the sharp features of a face she couldn't quite see. Realization struck her like a lightning bolt. She was deep in something monstrous, a world roiling with threats lurking just beyond her vision. The stranger at the counter, the hooded figure, and Alex, they all danced in a web of deceit, danger extending from every corner. Get out, Alex urged, urgency slithering into his tone. We can't wait here any longer. No, Lucy replied, instinctively gathering her courage. If chaos followed her too closely, then she would face it head-on. I need answers. With a surge of determination, she stepped forward, challenging the hooded figure with her gaze. Beneath the layers of fear, something sharper was emerging: resolve. You think I'm scared? She challenged, her voice steady. Tell me what you want. Suddenly, the lights flickered violently, bathing the diner in strobe-like flashes. Panic erupted as people began to scream and flee, chairs clattering across the floor. The air thickened with chaos, disorienting Lucy further. Time's up, the hooded figure hissed, disappearing into the shadows. Where are you going? Lucy screamed, but he was already gone, slipping through the crowd as if he was made of smoke. Lucy. Alex grabbed her shoulders, forcing her to focus. We have to move. Now. She inhaled deeply, adrenaline coursing through her veins. If she was going to confront her fate, she needed to choose, and she had to do it fast. With the weight of the unknown clawing at her, Lucy nodded to Alex, summoning every ounce of bravery she had. Let us get out of here. Little did she know, the choices she would make in the seconds to come would change everything. The shadows were closing in fast, and the clock was ticking. Would they escape the gathering storm, or would they become its next victims? The diner's door slammed behind them as Lucy and Alex burst into the night, breathless and wild-eyed. The hum of the world outside felt surreal, too bright and bustling, so different than the electrifying fear that still clung to them from inside. Save for their hurried footsteps, the quiet street seemed unaware of the whirlwind that had just erupted. What do we do now? Lucy gasped, her heart racing as adrenaline poured through her. She could still feel the hooded figure's dark gaze cutting through the chaos, lingering like a phantom at her back. Alex glanced over his shoulder, the tension in his stance palpable. We need to find somewhere safe, a place where they can't reach you. You heard him. This isn't over. Panic clawed at Lucy's chest. But I need to know who's coming for me. Who are they? Alex shook his head, frustration flickering behind his eyes. Right now, it doesn't matter. We can't let them find you. Just trust me. Trust was a precious commodity, dwindling quickly. But as Lucy told herself to breathe, she couldn't shake the feeling that Alex was keeping something from her. Let us get to my car, he said, motioning down the street. They moved quickly, dodging the shadows cast by flickering streetlights. Lucy's mind spiraled, questioning every detail. As they stepped into the parking lot, Alex's grip on her arm tightened. He looked out toward the main road, scanning for danger. Do you remember anything at all about your past before this? His question surprised her. The world around them blurred. I don't know, she stammered. It's all a blur. I just wanted a normal life. Normal? He echoed bitterly, sliding into the driver's seat and starting the engine. You were never meant to have that. That's why they're here. They'll stop at nothing. What does that mean? She pressed, needing clarity. What am I supposed to be connected to? Lucy. He hesitated, and for just a moment, the wall he had put up cracked. There are dark things in everyone's past, but yours is more dangerous than you know. Tension electrified the car's interior as they sped down the empty streets. The scene inside felt like a movie, racing toward a climax. The city glimmered around them, shadows dancing beyond the streetlights. One misplaced flicker and they could find themselves ensnared once again. Suddenly, an unmistakable sound, a rough growl of a powerful engine echoed from behind. Lucy's breath caught as she twisted to glimpse a black SUV barreling down the road, tailing them closely. "Drive faster!" she yelled, an edge of panic creeping into her voice. "I'm going as fast as I can." Alex's grip tightened around the steering wheel, knuckles white. The SUV veered closer, headlights piercing through the rearview mirror like a ghastly glare. Lucy's heart thudded against her ribcage as she felt the weight of being hunted. "Where will we go?" she panted, her voice shrill with terror. "I know a place," Alex said, glancing at her with urgency. "It's risky, but risks are all we have right now." With a jolt, Alex swerved down a side street and slammed the car into a back alley, tires screeching. They went silent, wind whipping through the open windows as they pressed against the leather seats, holding their breaths, the distant sound of the SUV fading. Lucy turned to Alex, fear knitting her brows. "What's really going on? What do you know?" He looked straight ahead, jaw clenched. "If you find out what I know, it'll change everything. You might wish you never learned the truth." But before Lucy could press him, it happened. A crash of glass shattered the silence from the end of the alley. A figure emerged, dark and ominous, revealing the telltale cloak dancing in the shadows. "Lucy," the hooded figure called, voice dripping with mockery. "You can run, but you cannot hide." The game has only just begun. With a rush of panic, Lucy realized their brief respite had vanished. The storm was upon them, and the choices she would make next would either seal her fate or prove the truth set her free. Would they be able to escape the pursuing darkness, or was it time to confront the nightmare head-on? Lucy's heart raced with panic. The cloaked figure took a step forward, shadows curling around it like tendrils, and every instinct in her screamed to flee. But the alley was narrow, a dead end with nowhere to run. She could feel the cold sweat prickling at her spine, her breath quickening. "Alex!" she shouted, eyes wide with desperation. "What do we do? We can't just sit here." He turned, a flash of fear passing over his features. "We'll have to confront him," he said quietly. "It's the only way to find out what he wants." "What do you mean confront?" Lucy's voice wavered, disbelief curling in her gut. "You can't be serious." But there was no time for an argument. The figure in the cloak stepped closer, the glint of something metallic shining in the harsh light of the street lamps. "Come forth, Lucy," the figure taunted, its voice slinking through the air like poison. "You can't keep hiding behind him forever." The menacing tone made Lucy curl into herself. "Do you know him?" she asked Alex in a low whisper. He shook his head, his expression tightening. "This isn't just about you. I swear, they're coming for more than just your past. It's about something bigger." The cloaked figure laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the alley. "Big revelations, Alex? Or just your own fear? What a tangled web you've both spun." Alex's gaze hardened. "You know she isn't ready for this. Leave her out of your games." "Games?" The figure stepped closer still, and Lucy could see a glimpse of its face, pale, haunting, twisted with malice. What's a game without stakes? She must uncover her truth or be lost to it forever. The memories haunt her. They're the keys. Key to what? Lucy challenged, mustering her courage. "What do you mean by that? I deserve answers." The figure's laughter rang out, ringing like a bell in the quiet night. "Ah, Lucy. That's exactly what you'll get, answers. But remember, the truth can be more terrifying than the darkness you fear." In that moment, the world around her felt like it was folding in on itself. She squeezed her eyes shut, forcing herself to remember something, anything. But all she saw were flickers, moments, shreds of a life that felt completely unreachable. Lucy. Alex's voice brought her back. Don't listen to him. The figure tilted its head, sensing her strength wavering. You are not just an innocent girl. You've been chosen. You were meant to be powerful, a vessel for something unimaginable. Will you embrace your fate, or run from it? Power. Vessel. The words ignited anger within her, stoking a fire she didn't know existed. I don't want your power. I want my life back. Ah, but it's not entirely yours anymore, is it? The figure smiled cruelly, the edges of its mouth twisting unnaturally. It never was. You'll learn soon enough. Just then, the roar of the SUV's engine cut through the air like a knife, the headlights sweeping into the alley, illuminating the nightmare before them. Lucy spun to face the approaching light, dread pooling in her stomach as Alex grabbed her shoulders. Run! He shouted, desperation igniting his voice. They darted past the figure, heart pounding, legs pumping as adrenaline flooded their bodies. They sprinted toward the street, but the path wasn't clear. The SUV roared into the alley, blocking their only escape. Lucy's panic surged, paralyzing her for a brief moment. What was she supposed to do? The truth was echoing in her ears, and it all felt impossibly close. Lucy! Focus! Alex yelled, pulling her from her stupor. They turned back toward the cloaked figure, whose eyes glimmered with sinister delight. You'll regret this, it taunted, a smile plastered across its shadowed face. As the SUV's engine revved and the driver emerged, the truth hung heavy in the air around her. No more running, she had to make a choice. But as she glanced between Alex and the looming threat, fear struck anew. What if she was too late? What if choosing to fight meant losing everything she cared about? Lucy! Alex's terrified voice broke her thoughts, pulling her back to the moment. What do we do now? With the figure closing in, she realized the game was far more intricate than she had thought. She was in a web of deceit, and time was running out. Let us end this now, she said, finding strength in her own resolve, but was that the right choice? The answer felt miles away, lingering just out of reach. All at once, the atmosphere crackled with tension. The SUV's headlights swallowed the alley in white-hot fury, casting long shadows that danced across the brick walls. Lucy and Alex stood frozen for a heartbeat, the figure looming closer, its eyes like storm clouds waiting to break. Stay behind me! Alex shouted, shifting his weight as if to shield Lucy from the encroaching horror. She felt a rush of gratitude mixed with fear. What could he possibly do against such malevolence? The cloaked figure paused, its lips curling into a sinister grin. Brave, aren't we? It said, voice dripping with mockery. But bravery can only take you so far. Before Lucy could respond, the driver of the SUV, a tall figure clad in black, stepped into view. A flicker of recognition tore through her. It was someone she thought she could trust, a name whispered around the city like a dangerous rumor. Emery. The very name made her skin crawl. Lucy, Emery called, voice smooth as silk yet laced with danger. You shouldn't have wandered so far into the shadows. What do you want with her? Alex demanded, stepping forward. Each word hung heavy in the air between them. Emery's gaze flicked to him, a humorous glint sparking in the depths. Ah, Alex. Always the savior. But Lucy holds the key to a greater game than either of you can understand. I'm here to make sure she plays it right. Seconds stretched like taut wire as a rush of emotions twisted inside Lucy: confusion, anger, betrayal. What game? She breathed, trying to steady herself against the onslaught of dread threatening to swallow her whole. The game of truth and power. Emery stepped closer, the threat in his demeanor unmistakable. He gestured toward the cloaked figure. This is just the beginning, Lucy. Embrace who you are, or it all will be taken from you. Your life, your memories, everything will shatter, and you'll be left with nothing. The cloaked figure chuckled softly behind him, cutting through the tension. See? The truth is all around you, but it's up to you to unravel it. Will you dare to uncover the depths of your own soul? Enough! Alex shouted, fury rising in him. He took a step back, trying to pull Lucy with him, but she was rooted in place, heart racing against the walls of her chest. Lucy! Emery's voice dipped in urgency, laced with a chilling undertone that made her skin prickle. They will come for you. The darkness is hungry, and if you aren't prepped, it will consume you whole. Why are you doing this? She demanded, her voice shaky, but the anger inside her ignited a new kind of bravery. Why pretend to care? Caring is too broad a term, he replied coolly, smirking. Think of me as a guide to the truth or to the abyss. Your choice. With her heart pounding loud against her ribs, Lucy felt time slipping away. The cloaked figure waited expectantly, shadows swirling like living things around it, while Emery's gaze pierced her with a promise of chaos. What did you mean by the darkness? She pressed, each word a desperate plea for clarity. Emery stepped even closer, lowering his voice. It's more than you can comprehend right now. But how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? What are you willing to sacrifice? Suddenly, the alley exploded with sound as the SUV's loud horn blared, cutting through the tension like a razor. Lucy, we need to run. Now. Alex tugged on her arm, pulling her from the adrenaline-induced stupor. She caught one last glimpse of the cloaked figure's expression, a mix of satisfaction and anticipation, like a wolf awaiting a meal. Run! She heard Emery's voice echo behind her, laden with an ominous threat. And remember, the truth always catches up. They darted to the street, Lucy's heart racing louder than her feet could carry her. As they burst into the night, a chilling realization wormed its way into her mind. What if Emery was right? What if running only led them deeper into danger? And beneath all her questions, one stood out the most. What had she truly uncovered about herself? With uncertainty gnawing at her insides, she turned to Alex, her breath coming in shaky gasps. What? If this isn't over? What if they find us? He looked deep into her eyes, determination etched across his face. Then we fight together. But we need to find answers before it's too late. As they raced down the street, the shadows lurking behind them felt more alive than ever. A truth awaited, but it whispered so low she could barely hear, hidden in the depths of her memory. What if confronting their fears was the only way to unlock the truth? The night stretched before them, full of possibilities. But dark clouds loomed overhead, and the game was far from over. What lay ahead was a path riddled with choices, each more dangerous than the last. The night felt heavy, almost suffocating, as Lucy and Alex dashed through the labyrinth of city streets. The adrenaline pulsing through their veins pushed them onward, yet the shadows behind felt like a living thing, always just a breath away. I can't shake this feeling. Lucy shouted, hardly able to hear herself over the frantic thumping of her heart. We're being hunted. Do we even know what we're running from anymore? A fragment of fear lodged itself deep within her. What if they weren't just running from something? What if they were running towards something worse? Lucy, we need to get to a safe place and regroup. Alex steadied his voice, though she could see the fear flashing in his eyes. We can't let the moment paralyze us. We have to stay ahead. With determination, she turned a corner and finally spotted a dimly lit community center, a beacon amidst the ensnaring chaos. There. We can hide inside. They scrambled toward the faded building, hearts racing. As they dashed in, the heavy door creaked, then swung shut behind them, sealing out the frigid night air. Inside, darkness reigned, but a flickering light from a far corner illuminated a familiar face. Lucy, Alex. It was the woman from the diner, panic still etched across her features. I was afraid you wouldn't make it. Where are we? Lucy gasped, the adrenaline still coursing through her. There's a secret room, one that can help us contract our next steps, the woman replied, hurriedly ushering them behind a thin metal door. It creaked as they entered, revealing a small, cluttered room lined with a series of files and digital screens glowing ominously. We're a collective of people who've been forced to expose the game for what it truly is. What game? Lucy asked, desperation creeping into her voice. The game of manipulation and control, the woman replied, grim determination written on her face. The man you met, the cloaked figures, they're all part of a larger network that thrives on fear. They draw their power from secrets, your secrets. Every word sank deep into Lucy's heart. But why me? She asked, bewilderment evident. What's so special about my past? You're not just anyone, the woman began, her eyes catching the flicker of the screen. You're part of a legacy that was hidden away, protected. It's time for you to remember, Lucy. Suddenly, everything started to click. Memories flickered like candle flames catching fire, happy moments, laughter, but then darkness crept in. No, she whispered, shaking her head in disbelief. I can't remember. Then let us help you. The woman pressed a button, and the screen burst to life, showing images that made Lucy's chest tighten. A young girl, laughter echoing, shadows in the background, whispers trailing after her. This is who you were, Lucy. Someone worthy of uncovering this truth. We're going to fight together. You'll stand up for your past. With resolve swelling within her, Lucy nodded, determination lifting her spirits even amid the torment. What do we need to do? Alex chimed in, whatever it takes. We've not come this far for nothing. Just then, the door rattled against a barrage of pounding. The clamor sent shockwaves of dread through the room, and Lucy's heart raced once more. They found us. The woman gasped, her eyes wide. We need to hurry, get to the exit before they break through. Acting fast, they navigated toward the back exit, adrenaline now a tangible force. As they bolted through the dimly lit hallways, what lay ahead felt uncertain yet exhilarating. Then, just as they reached the final corner, the cloaked figure emerged from the shadows. Going somewhere, Lucy? It sneered, fear clawed at her throat as she stood frozen, slivers of confidence wavering. But with Alex at her side, fueling her courage, she stepped forward. You don't control me. I refuse to let you terrorize me anymore. With that declaration, the shadows around her shimmered, revealing a light buried within her. It was more than a glow, it was power, a force of clarity ignited by purpose. The figure seemed to flinch, its confidence shaken. Ever so slightly. Foolish girl, the figure hissed, retreating a step. You think you can uncover the truth without consequences? You'll bring ruin upon yourself. Or maybe liberate myself. She replied, her voice steady with newfound resolve. You represent everything I am not, and I'm done running. This is my choice, my game to win. With a shared understanding, Lucy, Alex, and the woman surged past the cloaked figure, who watched, fury and chaos swirling behind its mask. They burst through the back door, a gust of wind rushing to meet them as if destiny awaited. With hearts racing, they stumbled into the night, united by the truth they were about to uncover. Together, we can expose the lies, the woman exclaimed, determination electrifying her voice. And as they found their place in the world, surrounded by uncertainty, they knew a change was coming, a storm of their own making. Lucy felt her heart steady, no longer burdened by fear, but infused with strength. The shadows may lurk, but she was no longer afraid to confront them. This was their moment, a chance to reclaim their light in a world so often draped in darkness, and it would be a battle worth fighting. As they embraced the path ahead, they understood one thing: truth and connection could forge them into something far greater. In that moment, as they stepped forward, the stakes had never felt higher, and they would stand together against whatever darkness awaited them. Now, keep that energy flowing. You need to subscribe to the channel immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support and let us build this community. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and let us make this story a movement. Flood the comments section with your fierce reactions and theories about this wild ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support makes all the difference. Let us light up the night.